Good evening. Welcome to the September 3rd Mooresville Redevelopment Commission meeting. The second item on the agenda is a public hearing on the plan amendment and creation of nice pack allocation area.
Have anyone here for the public, on behalf of the public hearing?
Do we have anybody from the public that would like to speak on this? Seeing none, if we could close out the public hearing, I'll accept a motion.
So moved.
I have a motion. Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor, could you signal by raising your hand because of these lovely masks? Thank you. It is unanimous. Thank you so much. Next item is the approval of minutes from August 11th, 2020. Do I have a motion?
I have a correction to the minutes from August the 11th. I approved the minutes for July 2nd and July 22nd, and part of that motion was to include all attachments to those minutes, and that is not in, that it was not added to these minutes. I'd like for that to be added.
Okay.
And if that's the only correction and or amendment I have. Otherwise, I would make a motion that we approve the August 11th minutes.
I have a motion to approve the August 11th amendments or minutes with the amendment. Do I have a second?
Second.
I have a motion and a second. All in favor, aye. Thank you so much. The motion passes.
Commissioner Perry, if I may, I just will note that I understand your correction. I will make that correction, but it is already reflected in the July. It is included in the July minutes in the record. So just for the record, again, I'll make,
It's not in the written.
it's not in the written, but I'm saying in our file, the attachment was included.
Okay.
So, and I will make sure in the minutes it now reflects the
Okay,
attachment.
because I know it's on the CD.
Yep.
Yeah, okay. All right, thank you.
Next item is the financial report. Do we have any questions from the commission? And Chelsea, do you have anything to add?
From a revenue standpoint, as we discussed at our last meeting, we were short almost $250,000 in our revenue to date. I do anticipate that the county auditor will be cutting an additional check. I checked on that and have not heard back from him on when that will be coming. So I hope to have an update for the meeting, but I don't have one. So I still anticipate what they said originally was they were going to, after the July payments were in, make another installment, but we've not received that yet to my knowledge.
Any questions from the public regarding the revenue report and update from Mrs. Mans? Seeing none, I will entertain a motion for either approval or denial of the update or the report. Sorry.
I'll make a motion.
I have a motion. Do I have a second?
Second.
A motion and a second. All in favor? Aye. Thank you so much. Motion passes. Next item, old business. Mooresville Business Center update. Merriman and Bethel.
There has been a lot of work going on at Merriman and Bethel, in particular on Haymaker Drive in the last month. That's where a lot of our payout has been distributed to, which is in the docket. What you do have before you is there was a request to upsize the water main that we are installing along Haymaker Drive. That request just came recently from Hill Water to change that from a 8-inch water main to a 12-inch water main. We have been requesting, and I'm checking right now to make sure that requesting a quote or an official change order from the contractor for that amount, and I still do not have it, contrary to Bailey's best efforts and mine to get that. Hillwater has said unofficially, without their board approval, which I know they need also, to pay for the upsizing. So to pay for the difference between the 8-inch line and the 12-inch line. So before you have a reimbursement agreement, and I can let legal counsel step in here as well, that just essentially says, once we have the change order, that Hillwater will pay the amount of that change order for the upsizing of that water main per their request. Anything you'd like to add, Attorney Stroh?
Just so on the logistics of this, so we would not deliver the change order to Kreider and Kreider until the earlier of one, we receive the necessary money from Hill, or they execute the agreement saying that they will provide it by the end of the month. Since we don't have it to provide, that would be for the actual change order now, that would be the best way to go about it, or the other is to wait until we actually get it, call a special meeting, wait 48 hours, have everybody come back and approve it. But what you're essentially doing is, the alternative is to approve it on a conditional basis that you will not provide it to Kreider until we either receive the money or the agreement and the promise from Hill to pay by the end of the month. The idea is we don't want to approve it, deliver to Kreider, and then not receive the money from Hill and be out the money.
Okay, so Hillwater is going to pay the difference, and this is the same situation where there were dozens of emails back and forth that this was a possibility it was going to happen, and Hill didn't want to pay it, is my understanding, but now they are.
So this is a separate issue. So we approved a change order at our last meeting for an issue along Merriman Road,
Right.
on the south side of Merriman Road. And Subsurface of Indiana, we had the special meeting, we opened bids. Subsurface of Indiana was awarded that bid to reroute a water main for Hill, which we are paying for. They have now come back and said, we want a bigger water main on Haymaker. And we are willing to pay the cost differential to do that. So, again, to Attorney Sturwald's point, we would not issue anything to Kreider and Kreider, giving them approval to officially do that until we either have money from Hill for the difference, or an executed agreement from Hill that says they will pay the difference. I will say time is of the essence, as I know, which is really frustrating that Kreider hasn't got me a quote. But time is of the essence because I know we actually were supposed to put that water main in last week, and then there was this back and forth on whether it was an 8-inch or 12-inch. So to just push it a month or to wait for another meeting, it's your call, but it's essentially what we're agreeing to is Hill paying for whatever cost is incurred for the upsize.
Okay.
Change order should have an amount. Do we have any estimate or?
Jeff Banning, you want to guess on that one?
No.
I was going to throw out a number, but yeah, he's shaking his head, so I'm going to go with no.
Let's just say it's way more than 1,000, but let's just say 1,000. It comes in at 1,000. Hill promises, executes the agreement, says they will pay it, or they pay us 1,000, then we deliver the change order. So there's no risk to the commission for being out any money. But if we're making a motion, it would be to approve, I guess, the reimbursement agreement, Dustin to sign, to approve the change order and deliver it to Kreider, subject to either prior receipt of the money from Hill or their execution of the agreement. I know that was a long, motion, but.
I would make that motion if I don't have to repeat it.
I I have a motion on the floor. Do I have a second? I have a motion and a second. All in favor? Aye. Motion passes. Very long motion.
But just to be clear, we basically handled that together, the agreement and the change order.
Mhm.
Okay, just, okay, very good. Next up, we have Amendment 7 to the legal description, or Amendment 7 to the Merriman and Bethel Road contract. This is a two-parter, and Jeff Manning is here with Manning Engineering if you have any questions. The first part, and I know I've talked about this a little bit in the last few months, about all the conversations we've been having with legal counsel and Manning Engineering on recording the easements on the Mooresville Business Center property. So this is actually to move that forward and to begin to prepare the easement documents, which is $650 per easement. So the estimated cost is $3,250 for that portion. The second part of this, and I sent you some emails with some pictures. Was everybody able to look at those pictures?
Yeah.
So this is a problem that came up with Merriman being closed. General Shale goes on Merriman west of Bethel. They have a facility back there. So with Merriman closed, they have been using Bethel frequently. That's a lot of truck traffic that I don't think Bethel's quite used to, because typically it goes on Merriman. So with that, there is a lot of damage that's happening to Bethel Road. What we have in our contract to do for Bethel is a mill and an overlay. So I've talked, Banning brought this to our attention, Mark Butler, who couldn't be here tonight, but he sent their second best engineer, Jeff Manning of Banning Engineering. And
Take that.
well, all good fun, good fun. And said if we just mill and overlay it, it may crumble again within the next year. A mill and overlay, and I'm starting to talk about things that I'm not probably the expert at, so you can jump in when I'm wrong, typically lasts 5 years-ish. If taken really great care of it, could be 7 if you patch and go. I've heard as many as 10, stretching it, but anything you want to interject yet? Have I done okay?
I'm ready to come up with another
Okay.
ready for me to.
So, it's really just a question for the commission. I asked, when he brought this to my attention yesterday, to give me a quote from the design standpoint, what it would cost to coordinate with Kreider to come up with a plan. And then we would also have to go to Kreider and ask for a change order for whatever Banning would design. But I think the pictures are pretty telling of the state of the road. So with that, I'll hand it over to Jeff if he has any comments he wants to make.
Good evening, Jeff Banning, 853 Columbia Road, Suite 100, Plainfield. With respect to Bethel Road, sorry, this mask is tough for me. Just kind of going back in history a little bit as well, talking about that. If those that were here previously, we actually had a design to redo Bethel Road, similar to like what we're doing on Merriman Road. So we wouldn't probably be having this issue as we speak now if we would have been able to have built Bethel Road the way we had planned to, intended to originally. What we've got going on there now is we've got 2 General Shale trucks that are going back and forth, and when they're next to each other, they're getting off the side of onto the edges of the roadway, and that's what's creating the damage. So the mill and overlay that we had, shown as part of the current contract, although that's not the ultimate goal for this roadway. Ultimately we want it to be full width curb and gutter roadway improvements as the industrial park continues to develop. But temporarily, we're going to have this issue. We need to solve that issue, because if we just overlay that, it's going to end up looking like that again next year, the year after next. So this is in a lot of ways not uncommon when you have this type of construction, when you've got heavy traffic detouring, something that we never would have been able to envision, you know, going through the process and thinking about, you know, stepping back and, hey, we were trying to solve this problem originally and we just didn't have the right of way to make it happen. So that's that one. Can I back up and go?
Of course you may.
On the easement issue, the right-of-way issue, as I'm sure a lot of you are well aware, we've been working with a local business that's going to locate on that property ultimately. We really thought we were going to have a plat recorded. They were going to go through that process, take care of all that through the plan commission process. We're to the point now where we really, we don't feel comfortable waiting on the platting process. We want to make sure as a community, as an RDC, we have all these documents in place. So that's the reason for preparing those and why those weren't included originally. We thought that would all be taken care of through the platting process. We thought that would have been done months ago, right? So I wanted to just share that with you as well. And then just one other quick issue. I've got the bully pulpit up here. I just, and I know you've heard this, I know Mark has iterated that, I think 2 meetings ago, with respect to the Hill Water upsizing. They've signed off on our plans, right? They approved those and we continue to get comments from them. Right or wrong, I just want to reiterate, we did what we were expected to do, what we had, you know, what we do professionally. And for whatever reason, it just keeps coming back. This is item number 3 at least. And I heard today we even found a new one about a 2-inch water line that wasn't located and they didn't tell us anything about it. I don't want to cast stones by any means, but I just want you to understand we've gone through, the commission's gone through the right process. When you don't have answers being given to you, you don't have plans being reviewed, this is what we're coming up with. So anybody got any questions, I'd be happy to answer those, but I just wanted to give a little background on all 3 of those issues.
So this road repair will hold up to the truck traffic, at least for the time that...
So just so we're all clear on this repair likely won't happen till the very end of the project. Okay? Merriman Road is in process of having the line stabilization, the base layer put down currently. That is proposed to be paved within the next month. When that happens, now all of a sudden the trucks can start going on Merriman Road, which is designed for that to happen, right? Bethel Road and going up to Linnell and the intersection up at Hansel Parkway, and that part of the work is the last portion of the work schedule-wise. It's probably going to look like this for another couple months, but everybody should be aware there's construction going on. If we repaired that now, it would be more costly to repair it, and we would probably have to do additional repair on top of that. So it's really kind of a timing thing, Brian.
Okay.
So there's construction signs up, right? You should be slowing down in construction zones. So unfortunately, it's going to be like this for a little bit of time until that construction happens.
Just wanted to make sure I was clear that we weren't gonna have to redo it again.
That is the intent, not to have to. And honestly, you know, as we sell off ground, which that's happening slowly but surely, you know, hopefully this becomes that next corridor, this becomes the next project, and I almost hate to say that it's a Band-Aid what we're doing there now, but it's really, in some respects, you know, timing of things, it's just the way it is, and I'm hoping we're redoing that roadway a few years down the road and we got more ground open up for economic development, so.
Any questions for Jeff, either from the commission or the public? Seeing none, commission members, we have a decision before us about amendment to agreement number 7. I'll accept the motion.
Make a motion to approve the amendment.
I have a motion to approve. Do I have a second?
I'll second it.
I have a motion and a second. All in favor? Aye.
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 Aye. Thank you so much. Shell building update.
We are still moving. The crane was to be delivered today, and I have not been there this afternoon to verify. Anybody in the audience come from the south? No?
Oh, Jeff?
I have not been down there. I was told there was steel going up.
Well, crane was to be delivered today for steel going up, so maybe it all
I
happened.
did not see one about 4 o'clock today.
Okay,
Could have been that I just didn't see it,
all
but
right. Steel is going up momentarily. If it hasn't already started, which means panels will follow shortly. So we'll really start to see the building shaping up here momentarily. So exciting times. It's been a long time coming. I think I first presented this to the commission in 2014. So excited to see that come to a reality. So
You have
Any-
your own photos?
I do. I have to think of who sent that to me. It is a pretty cool photo. Actually, I know Mark Butler sent that to me. I just have to figure out who. That would have been, what's 2 weeks ago? Was today, so that's our third. I'm gonna try to find the drone photo.
Around the morning, probably.
I'm gonna try to find it, well, because, and I'll put it up, as I do. I don't wanna hold up the whole meeting, but it is an aerial that our, construction observation manager, with Vanity took 2 weeks ago, and you don't always realize what all's going on, even from the road level, so to see it from that site is pretty awesome. So, I also have mowing quotes. So we received a complaint from some citizens about the grass being tall on a sliver of land the commission owns east of 67, between 67 and Brookmore. So the street department fielded those calls. I asked Superintendent of Public Works Dave Moore to help me with securing quotes. I received 3 quotes today. They are not apples to apples quotes, so bear with me as I present them. The first one is from Harris Diversified Services out of Martinsville. It's for bush hogging overgrowth of approximately 4 acres at the intersection of Merriman Road and State Road 67 for at a price of $125 an acre, so $500. Okay. Quote number 1. Quote number 2 is from Hilltop Farms Excavating, is to bush hog, prep the area for new construction surveying. So this is for approximately 80 to 85 acres of land, which I actually think is still overshooting. But this is for the acreage that has not been touched west of the creek along the Mooresville Business Center, or former Poly property, in addition to the roughly 4 acres east of State Road 67. So this is, again, Hilltop Farms Excavating for west of the creek, east of State Road 67, at $6,375. They've also reached out to Mike Hardin, who was not able to provide a bid at this time. Dave did say that the street department has the equipment to do it, however, it would be a council decision to allow that. And he estimated a cost of $87 per hour times 40 hours, which is $3,480. It needs mowed. I will defer to legal counsel on how best to move forward, considering that I don't have apples to apples quotes.
So we're just talking about the 4 acres that was complained about. That is, we received two quotes, right, for that. One is $3,000, one's $500.
No. One is 500, the other is inclusive of west of the creek.
I meant by the towns.
3480.
Yeah.
Yeah, 3480 by
Well-
the town.
Yeah.
Okay.
So that the town's quote is to just do the sliver east? Because that seems pretty odd.
I know, and that's, I'm gonna text Dave right now, actually, and see how quickly I can get him to. I think that his is for the entirety of the property.
I don't think there's 40 hours of work and 4 acres of bush hogging, so I imagine, not speaking for him, but I imagine it's for the entirety.
So we have probably one quote for
Yes.
the 4 acres that we're
Yes.
talking about. So, your options are, one, you can always not approve anything, but if you want to approve something, options are, one, you can approve that quote. 2, you can approve that quote, or, well, you approve that quote and also allowing the, reaching back out to the others that submitted the bid to see if you adjust for taking out that other area, what they would cost just for the 4 acres. Because their per acre cost is less, but they just quoted for more acres. But if it comes back less, then you allow Chelsea to approve that bid, or if the $500 is still the cheapest, then she can execute that. Does that make sense? So we basically are just gonna ask, you could ask the other bidders what it would be just to do the 4 acres. If it's less than the 500, we can approve that, or you can just approve the 500 and don't ask them to resubmit a bid.
So is it in, do we have an ordinance that it is, that we have gone up against at this point? Do we have, is the town telling us you have to mow it?
Dave inferred that we are in violation of the
Okay.
town ordinance.
Are we in violation of it just on that 4 acres or on the whole area?
Councilman Stanley?
I'm thinking, because, I mean, technically we own the property and nobody's really in town limits around that, so. I would venture to say that it's just the 4 acres.
That's what I would think too.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, if we're in violation and we have a $500 quote, I would be in favor of going ahead and getting it mowed and then having a discussion later on about the other property in question. That would be my motion, unless there's some other comments or questions by the rest of the commission.
Any questions or comments from the public? Seeing none, I have a motion on the floor. Is there a second to move forward with, I forget the entirety of the name, Paris from Martinsville, it's quote for $500 to mow the 4 acres?
I would second that.
With a motion and a second, all in favor? Aye?
Aye.
Motion passes. Up next, I will kick it down to Commissioner Cole. Oh, sorry. There's the,
Oh, okay.
So this was as of 2 weeks ago. I think it was actually 2 weeks ago tomorrow. But I think it's obviously no traffic on 67 except for that Fanning truck, or on Merriman. So I don't think you realize quite how much work we're doing from 67. So I thought that was a pretty cool picture.
It'd look good in the paper too.
That
It would.
I could probably get you an updated one.
Thank you. Commissioner Cole?
Okay. So we've had several meetings now with Jake and a couple of other people from the school, some of the teachers in the agri-science program. And they initially brought us a spreadsheet that had 70,000, do you remember the exact figure?
72,000 something.
$72,000 worth of projects. And we asked them to come back to us with a more encapsulated form so that we could really look at these as a per project cost. So that has been included in your packet. And it's a really good representation of what they want to do in order to allow the middle school students to learn more about agri-science and to beef up that program going into the high school. And the majority of what has been asked for are things that are going to be longer term. They're going to last for years. It's not just supplies for this year. It's stuff that's going to go forward. Are there any questions about the projects that are in front of you?
Two things, Commissioner Colvin, if I could,
Please.
like to add. If anybody's trying to do quick math in their head, the entirety of all of these projects is $73,564.66. Again, $73,564.66. I'll also note that we did have a really positive meeting between the commission, the schools, and Equipment Technologies. And I think that really opened the door to future possibilities between the schools and Equipment Technologies. I was really excited about it. I know Jake is here from the school as the assistant superintendent. I think it could be the beginning to a great long-term relationship and support further of not just agri-science, but we were talking coding, engineering, and accounting, and I mean, they were really open to anything. So really thankful to Equipment Technologies for being at the table and just being part of the conversation.
And we had put this on pause last meeting for that, in case there was money involved in what the proposal, but they really didn't look to have any monetary investment in what they were looking to help with. It was really just manpower and time to bring tours through and to maybe host interns if there is a possibility for that. So the monetary ask is really what's on these sheets.
Any questions? Jake, would you like to speak on behalf?
Yes.
Come on, you're here.
Jake Allen, Mooresville Schools, 11 West Carlisle Street. This has been exciting, and I want to thank Brian and Chelsea and Ryan and the whole commission for even entertaining this. So this is exciting for us, and whether small or large, just being able to build some relationships and spend some time with you all has been very, very productive and meaningful to us. So thank you. The kids are going to love this. If we're able to move forward in this direction, the kids will love it. It's hands-on for them. It's something that's key to Indiana's economy as well as Mooresville's local economy. And I think that we can hopefully get some kids interested in the agri-science side of things and produce some good workers and leaders in those areas. So thank you for your consideration. Appreciate it.
Thank you, Jake.
With that, I will open it up to the commission on how we proceed.
Go right ahead.
Certainly there is the option to make a motion to approve it, carte blanche, the whole thing. If there were any projects on here that other commissioners wanted to discuss, I mean, we could certainly drop some of them if we need needed to. My recommendation after sitting with Jake and the other teachers is to go forward with the full amount.
Is that a motion?
I was gonna say.
And then should I make the motion being on the committee?
Absolutely.
And then I would make a motion that we approve all of the projects that are put forth on the presentation.
I would second that motion.
We have a motion and a second. All in favor? Aye.
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 Aye. No. Yes.
Thank you so much. Just thank you.
Real quick, sorry.
I'm sorry.
Not trying to be the buzzkill. We have to enter into a contract with the school. Won't take me long. You can approve it at your next agreement or next meeting, sign. But it won't be hard. I'll get a copy to you. It'll be just some of the statutory boxes we have to take and things. But then we'll be able to transfer the money after next meeting when that's signed.
Great, yeah, that's
Yeah.
wonderful.
Totally.
Just thank you so much. I know, Dr. Moore, you worked on this on both sides for a while. We are thrilled with this relationship. Thank you very much. Truly, this is a big deal for us, so thank you. Appreciate
Thank
it.
you. Thank you for even coming here.
Oh, gosh, yeah, this is asking the easy part.
No, it's not.
That's true. I am on the other side many times, so, but it's very much appreciated.
There's some people in this room who know that I've been working on this for more than 10 years. And so it's good to see.
That's true.
Special thanks to the RDC and good job by the school. Brian, good work. Really, really appreciate it. And I think it's the right thing to do. I think it's a good thing. I think it serves your students, serves your community, and congratulations.
Yes, sir. Thank you. Thanks again. Appreciate it.
Up next, no new business, so we'll kick it down to legal and managerial updates.
Okay. From an admin standpoint, review of invoices, I want to specifically note the coordination with Larry Long, who helps the town on insurance and holds all of our policies. So I know there was a question at the last meeting on, I think it was a $1,600 check that we had after a lot of back and forth. That is actually, was partially for Bicentennial Park, which we no longer have in our name. So, at the park board's next meeting, which I think is September 14th, they will be cutting the redevelopment commission a check for $940, which covers that portion of that bill, okay? Now, there was also another issue in that so the former Mooresville Business Center property had a house on it. When we knocked that house down, somehow policy changed. The insurance policy was changed drastically, if not eliminated. So there is a new policy. So I have a cancellation policy for Dustin to sign to get our accurate policy in place, which means there will still be an additional invoice coming, but we will have accurate coverage for our properties alone moving forward. Clear as mud, because there was a lot of back and forth. And I do know Commissioner Colt had asked to review the policies. I got you one today, and I apologize because it took me a while. And I am working on getting you the other one for officers.
The director's
Yeah. QuickBooks coordination of our meetings and agendas and packets as I do that in cooperation with our treasurer's office. Nice pack planning and numerous calls with both their team and our team on that moving forward. Multiple conversations with Jake Allen in the schools, as well as our meeting equipment technologies, which I've already discussed, and follow-up conversations with both Jake and Jeff Goodman at Equipment Technologies. Real estate planning, multiple calls with Mark Butler. Mark Butler and I talk a lot, probably every day, on issues issues as, in regard to Hill Water, and the, change order that you approved today. I've also been on site with Dennis Nail, and Kreider to discuss that in more detail, and met Dennis again, actually, this afternoon. I'm happy to answer any questions that anybody may have as far as my month's work is concerned.
Chelsea, I just want you to know that I appreciate this additional breakdown as to what your services you're performing for the salary that RDC pays you. And that's much better.
Thank you. Absolutely.
Legal, do you have anything?
Just supplement Chelsea's report by numerous daily calls with Chelsea on a lot of things. As opposed to the whole month, so I'll just clarify that's all.
Daily and nightly.
Wait a minute.
Well,
Numerous
You can't-
extended telephone
Wait a
calls.
There you go.
minute. That's more than we need to know about.
Kids gotta go to bed. Alrighty, any questions for either our legal or managerial teams? No? Any questions from the public?
Good evening, I'm Jerry Vornholt. I live at 551 North Washington Street in Danville. I'm a commercial real estate broker and I'm on the Danville RDC. We're just getting our feet wet, so we're learning. A friend of mine, Jeff Malone here, is looking to possibly buy the building at 1 and 3 East Main Street. I noticed there was a TIF district there, so I'm looking for direction on who can we talk to, who can we meet with to discuss any opportunities that might be there.
Mike Dell,
we don't, that's
Yeah, it's
the tornado.
Oh,
Yes,
okay.
yes, right on the corner, yeah,
Yes.
Main and Indiana.
it would almost be, as Commissioner Perry said, our economic development director.
Okay,
Mike
so
Dell.
you have an economic development director. I
Yep.
probably should have known that, but I wasn't sure. Saw your meeting tonight, so I thought we'd come and ask.
Yeah.
If I can get your information afterwards and I can coordinate with you and introduce you to Mike and we can go, go from there.
That'd be great.
Yep, absolutely.
Thank you.
Yep.
Thank you.
Thank you. Any other questions from the public?
On any topic? Well, I just
Sure.
want-
Come on, Shane.
No, I'll just come up. Two things, just as, this is me, Shane, as a member of the public, 400 Northwest Drive. I heard at the last meeting that you allowed for more public comment during the meeting, and I think that is a gigantic leap forward for not only transparency, but for public involvement in their town, and I think it's great. And then I think too, the school system is now forming a relationship with you as we saw tonight. I think that is a huge step in the right direction too, and I think the public will appreciate that relationship as the school's a big stakeholder in the community. So kudos to you for me as a taxpayer. Thank you.
Thank you, Shane.
Anybody else? Seeing none, if we could review and approve claims, please.
I have a question on the claims on the accounts payable register. There's a payment to Kreider and Kreider for $57.95. It's coming out of the local road and bridge grant money, and that money normally is applied for to and awarded to the town of Mooresville for the repair and maintenance of the streets of the town. So did all of that $1 million go to the RDC for the Merriman Bessel project, or it's in, what account is it in? Is it in an RDC account or a town account and you're just drawing on it, or is it the entire $1 million? And
Yes.
that won't leave anything for street and road repair for the town of Mooresville?
So, when and the town is eligible for $1 million with, then they have to provide a 25% match.
Right.
So it's my understanding that Superintendent of Public Works, Dave Moore, goes out, rates the roads, and puts a list together with the assistance of Mark Butler at Manning Engineering, who finalizes an application for which roads are to be used, or are to be upgraded. So for that, which was, I believe, the late fall of 2019, was that round?
Yeah, I have the application.
Yeah, so that was specifically for the use of on Merriman Road. So when you apply for it, it is specific to a project. It's not just a lump sum that the town can say we're gonna pave, you know, $1.5 million worth of roads. So just give us $1 million and we're gonna cover the other, you know, 500,000. It has to be specific. It is very, I know there's very strict guidelines that it has to abide by, and there are lots of reporting requirements that both Dave's office and the clerk treasurer's office have to meet. So that when we received that $1 million, we were approved for that application. So that is to go to Merriman Road. That, I believe the account is 447, begins in 447. So that is the clerk treasurer's office, State Board of Accounts issue, which we have Jason here. You probably know more about all of this than I do. Jason Simler with Baker Tilly. But all grants apparently go into one account is what I now understand. So that 447 is not actually a redevelopment commission account. It is the account that has received the $1 million for, from the state, which is a grant for community crossings, which this round is being used in its entirety for Merriman Road.
And none will go towards the repair and maintenance of the streets of the town of Mooresville now.
That is accurate. However, Merriman Road is the town of Mooresville street, so it is going to.
It will be when the $1 million is spent on it.
It is
When
now.
it's completed.
I mean, it's the town's to maintain. Merriman Road is the town's to maintain.
Okay,
So-
that answers my question.
And I will also specify that the match was provided by the redevelopment commission, not through income tax.
I understand the match was $33,000.
$333,000.
$333,000.
It's a 25% match, and that was not asked for from edit. That was used from TIF. And then TIF 406, our account 406, which is the general TIF fund, will pay the balance of the Merriman Road project.
Okay. Just in case a taxpayer asks me why the streets of Mooresville aren't fixed, I mean.
Well, I will also say, because I remember having lots of conversations with Dave and Mark at the time, the town streets are in really great shape, which is kudos to the town for doing the job that they've done to date. I think if you go in a lot of other places, that's not necessarily the case. So, and there's multiple rounds of funding typically. Now COVID hit, so don't quote me on anything. I think Jeff Banning probably wants to chime in. So I'm getting motion here.
I was gonna say, I talked to Mark Butler prior to this meeting. We've paved, don't take this as an exact number, but effectively about 70% of the streets in Mooresville. This has been a program that's been going on for 3 or 4 years now. So when this came up, the opportunity, we were looking at ways to fund this project, and knowing that the streets were in pretty good shape, that's when we kind of shifted our thinking, especially since the ground had just been annexed to the town, and we were gonna have to maintain Merriman and Bethel Road anyway, so that was part of the decision in that, just so you know, Virginia.
Okay, thank you.
So,
Thank you,
you're
Jim.
welcome.
And I may be overstepping my bounds just a little bit, because,
Well,
you know,
what to do about
RDC
that?
and council and EDC here. I believe most of the roads are pretty much rated an average of, now this is a moving target, don't quote me, it's 6 or 7. 1 is a dirt road, you know, that has nothing on it. 10 must be like the Wizard of Oz Road or something like that. So, I mean, I remember getting calls a couple years back when we as a town, paved into a county road in front of Grandview.
I do
And,
too.
you know,
Yes.
that was the town, because we started doing alleys, where we almost started running out of qualified roads. You don't want to go back and do an 8 or 9. So I think right now we have a lot of 6 and 7s. And Merriman, you kind of see the pictures and you see where that would fall. So when we annexed in and that became ours, that one immediately shot to the top. So go ahead, Jeff.
And I was gonna say, to kind of go along with that point, because of the way the program is set up, we could literally only get funding for the existing road surface. So we literally had to do some gymnastics with NDOT to get the approval from them. It was just for edge of pavement to edge of pavement for that roadway. So this has really been a good thing. That's not a typical program that they would tend to put money towards. So it really worked out well for the community all the way around. So I think there was a lot of good work by everyone, Dave Moore included, in you know, making that happen. So yeah.
Any other discussion or comments about the writer or claims? If not, I will accept the motion.
I would make a motion to approve the claims in the amount of $252,730.19.
Motion to approve. Do I have a second?
Second.
A motion and a second. All in favor, aye.
Aye.
Thank you so much. For the good of the order, do we have any commission members that want to speak on anything? Dana Heinrich, anything? Brian?
Nope.
And I want to get out of here early too, so. Our next meeting is October 1st, 2020. I'll accept a motion to adjourn.
I'll make the motion to adjourn.
Thank you, Brian. Do I have a second? Thank you, Dana. All in favor, aye?
Aye.
Thank you, everybody. We are adjourned. Thank you for coming out. We'll see you October 1st. No.